guys. Hey, I need to do a thing. Bear with me for a minute. If you're watching this not live, just fast forward like 2 minutes. I'm trying to figure out how to share the actual going live address of my YouTube channel with my Facebook page. Now this is something that I assume has just a one button do it thing. I can't find it. I googled it, everything changes every 2 minutes, so I can't find a good answer for it. So I'm trying to figure that out right now, so sorry, it's just something, housekeeping that needs to be done sometimes. If any of you happens to do live stuff on YouTube, go ahead and just let me know how to do that. Morikaida, hello! So, my live video has not updated on my page. Let me go to my videos. Nope, okay. 8 watching, live now. How do I get the URL for that? Do I click on this? Okay, this gives me a URL. Let's find out what happens. Copy that. Put that onto my Facebook page, breathoflifeart.com on Facebook. There we go. Okay, nice. Now, let's see if that'll work. Actually, I think Twitter automatically, I have it set up somehow for Twitter to automatically do it. Whatevs. Okay, good enough. Let's talk about some art, shall we? Conman 920. I'm gonna be careful around you, Conman. Hey, so this is, as I was looking through my reference before I started today, I think I was able to articulate something that that is like, well, this whole process of working on Scolla here, I've been trying to kind of doing it live sort of thing. I'm trying to both teach myself, learn, and articulate so that you guys watching understand what's going through my mind as I'm trying to teach myself this stuff. You know, I've sculpted folds and wrinkles on and off for many years. I'm still not super good at it, but I never have sat down and just very procedurally gone through trying to break it down and say like what's happening here in real skin folds or clothes folds, and how can I get better at reproducing that. So something that this guy really illustrates well that I don't naturally intuit, and I think I see this a lot in people who are my skill level and below. So what we tend to do is we'll take a line and we'll see, oh, it goes, and then we'll just do like this cross hatching thing over the whole area. So like it's easy enough to pick up on the general flow of where those creases should go. Hi Dottie, hi Aletha. But then we have a tendency to just continue that line inappropriately. And the reason is because we're not, we have not grokked, there's a better word than grok, we have not fully understood the countervailing forces that keep those lines from continuing all the way across the body. So, this, I think, is a beautiful example of illustrating what those countervailing forces are. I want to... Oh, and I still haven't figured out a good way to zoom in on this stuff. Alright, I'm not going to zoom in, but I will show you this. So, let's just take a line at random, like this fold here, right? It goes up here, and you can see it almost stops here. But then it kind of picks up again here, picks up again here, and then you could kind of see it maybe there, and then here, and then here, right? So that fold or wrinkle exists. What is going on with my music? Hold on. Why is there talking? It sounds like I'm picking up a radio signal. Oh, okay. It's a weird bonus track thing going on. Got it. Okay, anyway. Right, so how and why these lines end up into broken segments like this. This is what is fascinating me at the moment, and I'm trying to put a finger on. Why is this happening? This one, it looks like just straight up stops, because now there's these two. It looks almost like it splits off. How and why these lines end up into broken segments. Oh, the other audio I have is my YouTube channel. I'm talking to myself live over my YouTube channel. Let's turn that off, shall we? Okay. Demi, it's a miracle you made it. Hallelujah. Are you at work on this beautiful Monday morning? Is that what it is for you, Monday morning? Oh, right. So this guy has got a line here and a line here. It's the angle is a little oblique to the camera, so I can't quite make out what's going on there. But I can see that there's a definite line here, and then it kind of splits. And that's cool. So anyway, countervailing forces is what I'm trying to pick up on. So putting on my noticing glasses, what I'm noticing is that there's these softer, subtler kind of stretches that are happening between where the creases fade out. So you can see that there, you can kind of see it here. And these guys, this is what my theory is. I think that because skin is made up of several different layers, I think that the connective tissue under the skin is being pulled tight against either ligaments or bone or muscle. Something is happening on these countervailing lines. Now, in this case, there's a really hard line, and I think that's because this amount of skin is thick enough to build up a roll, and it's not here. It's being stretched tighter across this. There's probably, let's see, what bone would be up there? There's probably this bone that goes into the shoulder. There's probably some kind of, oh wait, actually most other mammals have really itty-bitty sternums, so there's probably not such a human looking sternum there, but there's something there. And so all of that is, I believe, what is causing these parts to be pulled tight enough against the skin. Oh, getting a phone call. Not right now, though. And so what I'm trying to do then is take this theory that I have and apply it to what's going on with Scolla's arm here. So I've got a similar thing going on here. It's a little complicated by having these nodules in the skin, this kind of toad skin looking area, but I think I can kind of ignore that and come back to that. I think I can add it in after the fact. So okay. So here's my tendency, like I was drawing on the cat before. My tendency is to say, okay, so there's a line that does this, and a line that does that, and you just kind of go and you end up with these kind of diamond fish scale patterns. And that's not necessarily going to be the best result. You need to keep in mind how the skin is bulging, the weight of it, but then especially these areas where you've got these something that's pulling the wrinkles tighter. Seve? Diego? I don't know how to pronounce that name. I'm gonna call you Diego. Oh, that's not even Diego, it's Diego? I've not heard that name. Hi. SD. That would be scapulosternum and humerus. Thanks for the anatomy terms. Yes. And hello, Linda. Okay, so done a lot of talking now. Let's try to do some sculpting, shall we? I wish there was an always on top option for this. Okay, so I have proposed that the skin is kind of heavy enough to sag on these portions here, right? So these are doing what these kind of lines, oh, sorry, that's off camera. What these kind of lines are doing, and to an extent these ones, and these kind of neck waddle folds here. And so one thing I kind of discovered last time was building up with a strong stroke on one side like this, and then smoothing down only one half, not smoothing over the whole thing. You end up with the resolution is a little rough here, so I'll do a little bit of smoothing, but it gives you that kind of saggy look that I'm going for. Dago. Alright. 7 without the in sound. Okay. Seve Dago. Seve Dago? That is my terrible American accent version of your name. Congratulations. Okay, so also an interesting thing that I'm just now noticing is these neck waddles. Do you notice anything missing from them? Yeah, there's no lines from the rest of the skin crossing over them. Now, it's interesting, it's being pulled taut here, and there's a little bit of diamond sort of pulling going on, but definitely not this thing that I tend to do, which I'm guessing because the bulge is kind of shaped. Okay, ignore the cat underneath here, but imagine the bulge is shaped kind of like this from a cross section. Like here's how the neck skin is folding, right? So you've got these clear lines that I would think would cover, and they start to cover, but then they really fade out by the time the these neck waddles get seriously protruded like that. So that's really good to know. People sometimes pronounce my name like Steve or Siva, something like that. Make the E at the end more E. Sevi. Sevi. Okay. Alright, so, so bringing these lines partially through, having them fade away in appropriate places. These are all things that I need to learn, like where it's appropriate and where it's not is kind of the next level. Noticing it is level 1, right? Noticing a phenomenon is great. That's like, then you posit a theory, then you test that theory. And that's the phase I'm in now. Or actually, I guess it's not even a theory yet. It's still a postulate. Well, what is it in the scientific theory in the scientific process before you get the theory? You have a someone tell me, Seve, get on that. Tell me what comes before a theory in science, or I'm going to have to Google it, because this is really going to bother me. Just takes a little practice, Seve. I'm sure I'm still not. Like, I go soft at the end because I'm not confident enough whether to bring the E in or to add a little A to it, to where it's Seve or Sevi. E or E? Anyway, so I'm testing this proto-theory, as it were, and the way I'm testing it is drawing it on an alien arm and being like, does that make sense? So if I was really serious and studious about this, what I would be doing is trying to reproduce this cat. That would teach me the most. If I was a disciplined artist, that is what I would be doing. All the really disciplined character and creature designers that I know do those sort of exercises. I, however, suffer the Master of None syndrome, where I could dive deep into any one of the 800 different categories of art and design that I'm passionate about. But that would exclude so many other possibility paths for me. I choose not to do that. So I choose to be at this competency level where I push myself in little fits and starts as the need arises. If you want to be serious about becoming a great sculptor, you've got to sacrifice those things. And I'm not at the point where I'm ready to sacrifice, my writing, my graphic design, my film, my proto-film work that will eventually come later in life, learning about screenplays and scripts and all that kind of stuff. There's just I have a very specific plan for my life, and being a master sculptor is not one of those plans. My plan is to be good enough that I can work with others who are much better than me and to create a really great final thing. Sevi says, also it's E at the end. And the Sevi, the V sound, is the actual sound, like the actual sound. V. Like if I'm saying the letter V, so it's Sevi. Okay, good to know. However, you failed me by not giving me a the word that I'm looking for. Scientific process. Okay. What do we start out with? Nothing. That's okay. How about this graphic test? Develop. Okay. Make observation. That's what I did. I looked at a cat and made an observation. Think of interesting questions. Why does that pattern occur? Wow. In my case, literally a pattern. Like, why does that pattern of wrinkles start and stop in the way they do? Formulate hypothesis. That's the word I was looking for. Hypothesis. Okay. What are the general causes of the phenomenon I'm wondering about? So, in this case, I'm looking at this cat. I formed a hypothesis. I said there's some connective tissue underneath the skin that is pulling it taut in those particular areas, and that's what's causing the primary wrinkle lines to fade in and out. That's my hypothesis. Next, develop testable predictions. If my hypothesis is correct, then I expect A, B, C. Now, in my case, this is fuzzy because the way I'm testing my hypothesis and creating predictions is I'm putting it on my alien's arm and I'm saying, does that look right to me? Now that's tricky because, you know, there are lots of things that the human eye is super good at picking up on, such as human faces. So that's why the uncanny valley exists, and why so many characters in movies that are CG or whatever, like, are super close but just aren't quite there. When it comes to my personal experience with these kinds of extreme skin folds and wrinkles, I don't have a lot of experience with that, so I'm not naturally inclined to pick up on every little flaw. So this is where my testing, my predictive power is low. I wouldn't say it's non-existent. You know, I can look at my hand and I can fold it in interesting ways and look at how that. So, you know, it's not that I have no experience with skin folding and bulging and wrinkling and stuff. I just don't have enough to instantly pick up on even the slightest problem with it. Aletha says, Michaela says hi and bye in passing as she rushes off to work. Alright, well, as she gets back, tell her hi and bye as well. Where were we on the scientific process? Okay, develop testable predictions. Gather data to test predictions. Relevant data can come from the literature, new observations, or formal experiments. Thorough testing requires replication to verify results. Okay, and then you refine, alter, expand, or reject hypothesis. You develop more testable predictions. You go in that loop until you're happy. Then you get to a general theory. Okay, so that's why I said this is not a theory that I have. Theory comes at the very end of the scientific process. Well, there is no technical end to a process. It's a loop, as you can see here, right? It just keeps going. That's what is beautiful about science. It is an open-ended system that input can come from any direction that is testable, observable, etc. And can be applied to art, which is great. Why do I feel like I'm hearing the same song over and over? Why do I still have brightly painted corpses in my music directory? I got rid of that. Okay, let's go to artists. Oh, am I not on the playlist? Where's my playlist? Well, Dratty McDrat-a-lot, I don't have a playlist on here. Okay, I'm not going to spend time futzing with my music. I'm just going to play this album. Hopefully that just plays. Andrew, hi Andrew, says, finished watching your entire Sculpting 101 series and made some really awesome stuff. Watched it a dozen times. Probably going to watch it a dozen more times for reference and study. Keep doing your thing. Wow, thank you, Andrew. That's awesome that someone can get so much mileage out of that. Makes me feel great. Okay, so when I step back, I'm seeing that I have very regular. So I've decided that these lines should be big and long, and that's fine. These lines continuing as they do. So this one kind of fades out as it goes and kind of bends, and that's good. This one continues all the way around. It does start to fade out here, but is that the best place for it to fade out? I'm thinking maybe it's better if it fades out. Oh, if it fades out before it hits this deep crease. Let's see if that gets me something a little more like my. Okay, so now I've got these lines that kind of go and fade away, and to me, that's looking like what's going on. Oh, why is this so hard to click with my pen? That looks like what's going on here, where you've got these lines that go, and then they kind of fade off at the soft bit. Although this arm, I think, is more like this neck or this saggy chest part. Which again, I don't see any counter movement lines to it. Sebi says, play Hall of the Mountain King. I can't play anything that you would recognize because then I can't monetize my video, unfortunately. Eric says, my cat also watches your videos with me. I'm sure he is thinking the hairless cat is interesting. Yeah, I wonder... I'll bet there's pretty funny videos of hairless cats being introduced to furry cats for the first time. I wonder what kind of experience that is for both of them. It's funny, I've been reading my mom's latest novel set in Talifar, and it's about a splinter group of humans that were genetically modified to live in cold climates, and so they're completely covered in fur, and his experience coming down and living with what they consider to be the degenerates, which are the humans that are naked. So it's like the equivalent of the naked cat, right? And they see them as just as gross as we tend to see naked cats. Well, here's an interesting opportunity to kind of mess with the formula a bit, right? So my normal inclination would be to continue this line straight through, but instead I'm tugging it off in another direction. I think that's important for breaking up that overly regular pattern, and I think it's something that I've seen somewhere in my reference. I can't point to it right now, but it feels right to me. I think there still needs to be some little bit of divot there to indicate that, you know, when the arm is folding back and forth, it is getting, you know, like these little wrinkles. And so the more you do that, the more this skin piece, but you know, pretend it's a skin, the more that is going to permanently create a divot. And so that still needs to be respected, but needs to be held in tension or in concert with keeping things from being too regular. Alethea, your cats watch them too? They say they can do better if they felt like it. Oh, you know, your pet cats probably could do better. Okay, I feel like leaving this whole area just kind of fairly blank. I'm gonna go in. Yeah, that's not what I want. Probably want a polish off. Make these guys a little less conical. Is that doing the trick? Kind of. Leaving these bumps is kind of the main feature of this upper area here. I think will be more satisfying than if I'm pulling the lines through it. I may change my mind on that later, but I'm going to leave that for now. Now I want to figure out what to do on these more saggy parts. I think the general flow of the folds I'm happy with here. Happy enough with. Again, getting back to my overall strategy for life is that I could continue to push and push and push and learn and get better. The opportunity cost is too great for me to do that, so I'm going to leave it at the good enough for me state right now. So Where am I going to put these lines? Let's look at Mr. Cat. I mean, obviously the closest example is the legs, but this area is nowhere near as wrinkly as Scolla's forearm. This is a lot closer. This is actually too wrinkled, so I'm going to look for a different reference. Let's check out Mr. Grumpy here. Yeah, he also does not have the right mix that I'm looking for. So he says, I'm just thinking of that character from Dragon Ball, super weird, that cat thing. Aletha says, I used to have a leopard spot Appaloosa. I think that's how you say that. And when other horses saw him, they thought he was an alien because they hadn't seen that color pattern, apparently. It was funny. I think leaving the bumps the main feature with no lines looks good. Excellent. Where'd my kitty cats go? Here they are. Let's go through and see if I can find. Okay, so here's this particular area has a little bit of sagging skin. It's the closest so far. This has some good kind of back and forth going on. Huh. Yeah, this was the original one I was looking at, which, again, it's a little too much. Oh, look at this. I got my second ever tip. Thank you, Andrew. Okay, I'm gonna attempt your last name. Are you ready for this? Quirorga. Is that right? Anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That will go right into cameras and things that hold cameras. I need to pay that back. Thank you very much. Oh, and it says their Instagram is Orphan Age if you want to see some of the projects your videos helped you with. Yeah, you know what? Let's see if I can go there right now real quick. Why not? Instagram. I can't stand Instagram. I'm so mad that it's so difficult to put your pictures from your computer onto Instagram. Why is it so hard? Okay. Search. Orphan _age. Alright, looks like you're doing a marionette type doll joints. That is pretty cool. I designed a marionette in art school. I'm not saying that you're doing a marionette, it just has joints that would work for a marionette. Pretty elegant, you say, Andrew. Okay. It's because I rolled the R that made it elegant. Great hands. Look at that. Yeah, I'm always so proud to see what people have done following my tutorials. I mean, it's not, you know, obviously most of it is just your natural skill, but that's a very interesting character. Very interesting proportions. Great work. Oh, great hair too. Look at that. Look at that hair, ladies. Woo! See, almost got the smolder going on there. Oh, these guys are pretty fun proportions too. Yeah, cool stuff, man. Thanks again for the tip, and thanks for watching and doing stuff with it. Okay, let's keep looking at naked cats now. Oh, this guy definitely is about to take over the world. Oh, and look at this. That's really good. This is really good too. Great reference. One thing that I'm seeing is that these guys do not have crisscrossing scales, which I had in my mind from the momentum of when I had Scolla as a more reptilian creature, but because I'm pushing more amphibian, that's not really what I need. Great study for where, you know, when a thing is stretched out, where the wrinkles end up. Gosh, that's a beautiful photo. Sevi, do I have Tumblr? I do. I don't think I've looked at it in like 3 years. I've tried pretty much everything, trying to find the best platforms for showing my work, and I just had to choose the ones that I'm on and that are easy for me to use, and that's pretty much Facebook primarily. That's like 80% Facebook, 10% Twitter, and 10% other, like when I am like, I should probably update my other various things every once in a while. Instagram is for phones, that is correct. I don't want to take a picture of my beautiful sculpture with my stupid phone and have that be a representation of my sculpture. That doesn't make sense to me. Andy says, yes, it's a puppet for dude. Yeah, for sure, the hands were inspired by your class. Paradusk says, thick cat. Yeah. That's got some sexy time going on there. That one does not. Oh, oh wow, this is almost a direct. If it wasn't, I guess this area right here, and that window, that is Scolla's arm. Okay, so how do I take that low-res, grainy example? Well, I guess one thing I could do is I can trace these lines to get a sense for what they're doing. So we've got two that are, three that are going almost the same, and then a couple that crisscross like so. It's always interesting where they intersect, how they intersect. Do they continue a bulge over another bulge, or do they merge? So like, in this case, I see a merge. This is like a, oh, I don't want that guy. So I'm seeing a pretty M shape right there, right? But it also connects to this here. So what this is basically doing is kind of a more compact version of what I was doing. Come on, you can really, you can't grab? It takes four attempts to grab it. Alright. Yeah, so this area right here is pretty close to what's going on with Kitty Cat there. I'm wondering if maybe I want to lose these more spread out wrinkles for the forearm, because his arms are extended pretty close to as far as they can go. And what's going on with Kitty here is the forearm area here, there's just these kind of subtle, very regular ripples going out from it. But on the other hand, I really want to evoke this kind of wizard sleeve look. just because of the character's intelligence and his arcane nature. Like, he's mysterious, he's smart. To me, that's his wizard. So, Sevi says, I post on Tumblr mostly. I have a weird name on Tumblr. It's Cows Produce Milk. Alright, let's see if I can find it. Now, I won't spend as much time on yours because you didn't give me $5, but I do like to see folks' stuff. Alright, there's no E in Tumblr. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to go to... Huh. What happens if I go here? I get to One Punch Man fans. Why? I do not know. Cows produce milk. Here we go. Apparently, Sevi is a One Punch Man fan. That is adorable. Is this yours? I don't know how to tell. It looks like, okay. So that's you. These are your top photos, I assume. The painting you made in 2016. Okay, so this is actually your art, right? I think so. Mr. No Socks. Hi, Mr. No Socks. Smile right back at ya. That's what that smiley face looks like. No, wait. Eyes closed. Okay, anyway. I want a wizard sleeve. I'm going to have a wizard sleeve. Gosh dang it. I'm going to have a wizard sleeve. This is too smooth. Let's say that when he puts his arms down, the heavy skin folds are gonna kind of pile up on each other, which means near the bottom of the sleeve, you're gonna have more wrinkles, and they're gonna fade up as they get up to the elbow. That is my postulate, my word that I already forgot that comes before theory. Yanislaw says, hey Josh, I don't forget you just had a lot of things to do, but I translate the second course soon. Can't say sorry. Oh wow, hey, thank you so much. I mean, any translation anyone does, I super appreciate. Sevi says, these cats must look like a pink wet rag after a bath. I would think they would look pretty much the same. Okay, so I want to kind of work in this idea of subtle wrinkling that happens when all these wrinkles pile up on each other. They're not piled up right now because his arm is bent and going not totally with gravity. So I'm just going to try penciling in a couple lighter, fairly regular, just like Kitty Cat has, folds. Sevi is going to update his Tumblr. Be sure to like the posts. Okay, let's see if I can like these posts. Heart. Did that work? No, it's gonna tell me to log it. Yeah. Good luck me finding my login stuff. Really can't. I think I need a new tablet. Yeah, after the stream, I'll try to figure out if I can log in and heart your post. I don't know if I'm really digging these horizontal bands. It almost looks like Ernie sleeves. You know, Ernie from Sesame Street. He has a shirt with these super 70s stripes on them. I mean, maybe I can just leave them like this? I feel like this amount of foldy, wrinkly stuff needs some payoff down here. But I don't know if that's actually, if that impulse is right or not. Because I look at how crazy this area on this cat is. But down here, it's really darn smooth. Although you can see some tendons because the skin's tighter there, and I'm doing the opposite. I'm making it looser as it goes down. So it's probably better to look at it the opposite way. Think of this area as Scolla's arm, which again, it's got these things going across it, but it also has this is a primary shape. Alita says, I think tighter wrinkles on the lower arm would look better. It's also kind of hard to visualize without the hand up there, and I have the hand down here, and I don't want to move it because, although, can I, let's see, I can just copy that hand. Duplicate it, move it, nope, not like that. Because that obviously is going to be the primary thing compressing the folds. Sevi updated. This hand is what this skin is being pushed up against. I think that's going to help me visualize that better. Sorry, I'm going through the process of remembering all the random button combinations. There we go. That one. No. Oh. Oh. Still there. Okay, great. Okay, so looking at it thusly. What? Why would you hide that? All right. Have everything we need. Yes. Sorry, that took way too long. Okay, now we have this all pushed up against there. And sagging down. Let's try to get my wizard sleeve look going on. Let's see if I do a little more heavy compression here. That gets me what I'm looking for. Letha says, or something. The way it looks right now, it looks a little something I can't think of a word for. Maybe the word is bad, or not good art, or stupid. Okay, so this is the proper orientation. So gravity is going this way. I want to emphasize a downward pull in that direction. So if it's pulling the skin with it, it should be coming this way. Demi says, hey Josh, I'm sure you heard this before, but I always wondered about Zbrush. How intuitive is it when, for example, you sculpt in real life as you do? Is there much of a learning curve? So learning Zbrush is very painful. The button combinations that you need, the way you save files, where tools are, none of that stuff was intuitive for me. When it comes to just like what I'm doing now, where you're kind of layering in lines and scratching it into the surface, like this sort of thing, that's intuitive, and that's the payoff. That's what makes it worth learning this program. The fact that you can have symmetry on, and you can, you know, 3D print the stuff that you make. And the fact that there's an undo, the fact that you can make multiple duplicates of the thing and try out different things on your duplicate. Like, all of those things are massive advantages when it comes to designing while you sculpt. And I'm a very designy oriented sculptor, not so much the arty type, more the designy type, and so all those things are super valuable to me. So I think it's a your mileage may vary type of thing. It really depends on what you want to do with it. Letha says, the more compressed wrinkles, definitely better. Yeah. Yeah. I think that is true. That is true and right and good. Now I'm getting this like C-shaped rippling echo going out, and I don't, let me double check, but I don't think that's something I see a lot. Well, there's a lot of the same compression direction over and over. Same direction over and over. Okay. Here's what's bothering me about it. All these lines are going parallel to the direction of the arm, and I have them going like this weird. It fights against how the skin would actually be being pulled. So I need to. So there's straight, there's straight, there's straight, there's straight. Okay. Just kind of, I just go over the top to kind of get myself oriented to that orientation. That's just a general design principle that works really well. Is when you're tweaking variables. This works in game design, it works in art design. If you just like nudge things a little bit, like back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, it's not as valuable or as fast as just like going over the top, like do it 10 times heavier than you think you're going to want it, and then do it 10 times the other direction, and that will help kind of set your brain on where those parameters are, and you can better find the middle point that you're looking for. Okay, so I see why I'm ending up with a C, because I'm trying to do gravity, right, that goes in this direction, but then I'm also trying to do, let's see, if I follow from here, like top down the arm, you can see you end up with this C shape. So I think what that means is it needs to turn into the Y thing, the Y-shaped thing. So you've got gravity pulling it down, yes. You have to have it going flat across the top, yes. But then what happens is they end up creating these branching shapes like this. They don't interpolate into C's, they branch into Y's. That's working out down here. And this is starting to get some of that. Oh. Come on. There we go. This is starting to get some of that kitten elbow love that I like so much. This area here. Oh hey, look how much bigger I can get it. Cool. Demi says, I haven't tried it yet, but just the fact that you can experiment and, as you said, have the plus of symmetry and perfect copies is definitely cool. Definitely something I want to try too. Yep. One thing I think you might have a good time doing is playing with their other product called Sculptress. I believe it's free, and that will help you get the basics of 3D sculpting. If you go to Pixelogic's website, well, if you just Google Sculptress, pretty sure that'll get you where you want to go. Yeah, sharing my experimentation and process is what these streams are all about. I really enjoy streams by other artists where they do that same thing. I'm not sure if I need to connect this over to here or if that's getting a little too procedural. Let's see what happens. By procedural, I mean you start seeing the same technique over and over again, and it creates an unrealistic patterned repetition. Because I mean, that's always the temptation when you figure out one thing that works is to just, well, you got a hammer now and every problem looks like a nail, so you're just going to use the same technique over and over and over. That's why reference is so important, just to break you out of that. But in this case, I think that's working pretty well. JJ says, hey Josh, to who does this beautiful wrinkly arm belong to? I haven't been able to catch too many streams lately. Hi JJ, welcome. This belongs to my friend Scolla. He's a character in a book that we will be releasing shortly. Let me see if I can show you. There's illustrations. Audio. Oh. There we go. Where are you, Scolla? Here we go. So this is the guy I'm doing. I'm kind of moving away from the reptile-like skin and moving towards amphibian skin for him. But that's the basic shape and contours of him. This bulge sure is unnatural, isn't it? Yeah, Demi, next time you catch the stream, let me know how Sculptress worked out for you. I'm curious. I'm always curious. But I know you have, you do art on a computer, so I'll be curious to see how quickly you pick up a 3D sculpting package. Actually, have you ever used any other 3D modeling packages like Max or Maya or Blender or any of those? It's good for me to get feedback when I point people in certain directions, so I can know if that's a fruitful direction to point others in. Okay. I think this is... I don't think it's there, but I think it's the right direction. I feel like I've found a good roadmap. Using the damn standard brush to push up the direction that the skin would naturally fold and flop over. So it's a little harder. It's a steeper curve on this side than it is on this side. Kind of slopes down and then flops over there. Denise says, no, never. I'm a graphic designer stuck in 2D. LOL. Photoshop, Illustrator, etc. Yeah, although I know Photoshop has been kind of adding really simple 3D modeling, or at least object manipulation tools. So things are getting kind of integrated that way. But yeah, having the ability to generate 3D assets and render them out and use them in 2D illustration, that's got to be a pretty big bonus for you, you know. I know a lot of time in graphic design is spent looking for just the right asset that you can buy off of a website, or going out and photographing the right thing or whatever. It's awfully nice to be able to just build what you want if it's, you know, simple enough. Sevi says, I'm going to become a master at painting. Be sure to check my Tumblr. I'll be posting like the posts. Thank you for your sculpting videos. Thank you and goodbye. Bye, Sevi. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I'll check out your Tumblr after the stream and figure out how to log in again. Okay, so this guy is standing out to me as weird. This whole line doesn't really make sense because there's no like connective tissue or gravity or whatever to kind of pull it in that direction. Just gonna wash it away like it never existed. And he says, yeah, they have integrated a few things, but I'd rather learn / use a program dedicated to 3D. Yeah, I have not even touched any of that Photoshop stuff. I think I saw a video where someone did it once. It was like, huh, that's weird, but okay. I wish they'd do an image hose brush before they did that, but whatever. It's their program, they can do what they want. I also want to look for ways to move. So see, I've got this zigzag going on here that almost is going all the way down. So I want to look for ways to break that up. So if I make this crease a lot more significant, now it goes way up here, and then it kind of breaks off there and comes back there. So that's the sort of variation that I found tends to make things more realistic. So I'm not absolutely sure what I'm doing right here. I feel like I'm just going in and emphasizing where the rolls and wrinkles are. I think maybe because I feel like in these in-between areas, there still needs to be some skin that's kind of pooched up a little bit, like on here. And he says, hopefully by the next stream I catch, I'll have an update for you on sculptors. Excellent. That is your homework. Your homework for the week. I kind of like what's going on here, having a very tight pinch between the rolls as opposed to having these kind of semi-rolls in between them. Oh, you know what works really well? Okay, this is what I feel like I'm missing. You go in with the clay build-up brush and go against the direction that it's normally going. You get a lot of just, okay, now watch when I smooth it down. And you can smooth it more or less, but you get just some natural deviation in the skin, so it looks less like melted wax and more like skin. Talked about this last stream, Demi, but the program that I want to learn next is Marvelous Designer, which is a fashion design tool. Lets you make patterns for clothing and then actually drape them over a 3D model, whether that's a model of a person, or in this case, I would be able to drape it over, you know, a skinned version of Scolla, and then it runs physics calculations and actually drapes the cloth the way it would in real life. I've got a couple co-workers who have used that for creature and character design work, and it looks super cool. Right now, it looks kind of like he's wearing a cable knit sweater. I'm not sure if this area really makes sense. Bump up a little sub bump 2 little sub bumps in there. Let's see if that works. JJ says, last time I made it to the stream was a while ago and you were working on the Scarred King cover art. Never saw the finished product until just now. It looks really nice. Any ETA for the book? ETA is better be this year. And my mom made a compelling argument to me that we should get all 3 of the trilogy finished before we release the first book in the trilogy, because otherwise we might fall into a problem of, you know, who knows what random technical hurdle comes up and we can't get the second one out for, you know, a year after the first one. And at that point, any momentum we may have gotten from the release of the first one is lost, and people have forgotten about the series and hate us and burn our house down, or just don't buy the second one. That's probably a little more likely. So that is that's kind of delayed the release of the first book. But this Scolla character is going to be the cover for the second book. And when I'm done with him, I'll probably be working on the character for the cover of the third book. So you guys will get to see the whole process unfolding. I think in a couple of weeks, we haven't finalized the plans yet, but my folks are coming up again, so we'll do another stream with my mom and we can talk more about the books and plans then. Demi says, sounds sweet. I'm sure realistic fabric must be to render. That would be cool to see. Yeah, I imagine if I could just make a sleeve for this guy, set it to be like alligator skin or leather or something like that, drape it over, and then that can be turned into a mesh that I then sculpt on, which is a process I've seen used before. It probably would have saved me a lot of time. But yeah, it's learning the thing in the first place that is not a time saver. But I do think it's going to be important for the long term for my Talifar book series, because one thing that is kind of a blind spot to both my mom and me is fashion. It's not something that we're passionate about, and so as a result, the book, well, all the books are pretty sparse when it comes to descriptions of clothing. I mean, it's not like they're not there at all, but they're not as rich as they could be, I think. And I would like to do some visual development on that front. I'm really excited. One of my Facebook friends, who's also a big player of Guild Wars 2, she is a fashion model and also a fan of fantasy, so she just offered to beta read the book and give any feedback, any fashion feedback, so pretty excited to see what she has to say about that. Because I'm looking for experts on virtually anything and everything. There, you know, everyone has their blind spots, and so there's just a lot of things that we haven't thought about or considered. Try as we might to consider and think about everything when you're trying to seriously world build a plausible world like we are, there's going to be a lot of things that slip between the cracks. And, you know, fashion design, that's just one of those that I hadn't really thought about at all. But it's a major part of life and civilization. So it's, it's just really lucky that I happen to have a friend who knows all about that stuff. So. Do you comply? Hello, do you comply? Says, been watching Sculpting Series 101 up to Class 6. Thanks so much for all the help. Love from the UK. Awesome. I love the UK. Every time someone from the UK pops in, I remind myself, hey, I need to go there someday. Alright, this I'm feeling really happy with now. I still need to go in and smooth out all these fabric-y looking lines, but the overall shape I'm much more pleased with. Once, see, these kind of lay the, I guess it would be tertiary detail. So the primary structure is his arm, right? It's an L shape. The secondary detail would be the main folds and wrinkles. The tertiary then is these other lines that I'm smoothing in right now that just give it some more kind of visual noise and interest. And then a fourth layer of detail will go over that again, and that will be the much finer detail, the pores, and you know, I'll have to look really close at amphibian and reptile skin to kind of find the mix that I like for what's going to go over this, whether it's like teeny tiny dimply scales or just like pores or tiny little pimply bumps, or you know, whatever that'll be. That'll go over that yet again, and when all of those come together, that's when you get a really cool detailed creature design. Aletha says, if my movies ever get made in, or if my books ever get made into movies, I want whoever designed the fashion for Shannara Chronicles to do the clothes. But I don't want the director or scriptwriters. Yes, I agree. Their costume design was amazing. I wish what they would have done is taken those costumes and put them on mannequins, and then they just like wheel the mannequins around and have like a little puppet mouth, and then the mannequins could just puppet better dialogue. Actually, just take it straight out of the book. Just have the book lines read through mannequin flappy mouths with those costumes on them, and that would have been a far superior piece of art. All right. Yeah, I feel like this is now at the level at which I'm ready to apply the same treatment to the other arm. Which looks like it's pretty close. So the same thing that's going on that arm is going on this one, where it's not really respecting gravity or I guess it's gravity, the weight that the skin would be pulling down this on the sleeve. Do you comply? Says, come to Liverpool, home of the Beatles, my hometown. Awesome, man. I would love to someday. I've said it many times on this stream, but I have 3 favorite things in the world, and one of them is ruins. And I've never, ruins, castles, just that kind of general historical buildings. And living in America, I never get to see those things. Like the oldest building in Seattle, I want to say, is from 1911. It's just like, eh. Let's get our hands back in here. Okay, now I can see both arms. See what I liked about that one and make sure I'm translating it to this one. I kind of like the momentum of this directionality pulling down into here. I just need it to fade probably around this area and then go to straight up stacked tires, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man style stacks down here. Dottie says, time for me to duck out. I'll catch you next time. Bye. Bye, Dottie. Thanks for stopping by as usual. I'm trying to tell if that hand is centered or not. Elbows here. Bone will go down. Guess it is. So I need to hold this area out a bit. Need to see through the hand a little bit here. That's another delightful thing about CG sculpting. I wish I could do that with real sculptures. Just ghost out parts of them and sculpt straight through them. That'd be awesome. Okay, so I have an opportunity, since gravity is pushing straight down here, to really emphasize the interface between the wrist wrinkles and the hand here, so I can really show how the knuckles are pushing up against the skin flopping folds. I when I when I was doing all these wrinkles on top, it really inflated the size of the arm because I was only doing additive wrinkles. I wasn't carving in subtractive ones very much. But I think I'm pretty happy with this proportion, so I'll probably just do the same thing on this side. By the time we get to this second compression bulge, the effects of these knuckles pushing up on the first one are probably not enough to really perturb the line of it. Do a branching Y fold here to help ease the transition from the slope going down to these very horizontal parts. Oh wow, actually, that's not super horizontal. I wonder what, I guess you just move it. Leave it like this for now. So here I've got a little more of the reptilian look to the skins and the folds, the skins and the folds. The skin folds and wrinkles, which is pretty cool looking. Compare that to what's going on over here, and it looks pretty dull by comparison. Not that, you know, every square inch of your creature needs to be super detailed. In fact, it should not. There should be areas of rest, of visual rest, where otherwise you just end up with a very cluttered, noisy mess. So I'll have to make an assessment when I've got more of the full, you know, everything put together and visible at the same time. I think this is another good place for a Y. But why? big bulge here seems out of proportion. So I need to decide, am I going to split it in half or find some other way to deal with it? I'm going to try this. I'm going to mask off this area. And then I'm just going to see what happens if I pull it down like this. That mask keeps me from pulling this area down here along with it. I mean, I made that more like in proportion with these other ones. Like you see on these kitty cats, very few of the wrinkles are significantly bigger than the other ones. As they spread out, they get like wider between them. But yeah, it's pretty regular size. So I think I'm warranted in kind of keeping that repetition intact. I think I like what's going on here. It makes sense that with such saggy skin, you know, this elbow is pulled tight because of the bend of the elbow. So if it's not bent, all that saggy skin needs to go somewhere, so it's going to bulge. But these bulges are proportionately smaller, which usually would indicate thinner skin, I think. And I think, yeah, skin around joints tends to be thinner because it's pressed up against the bones of the joint. So I think that makes sense to do. Again, there's certain things that, like the idea of, I can justify the idea of it to myself in the moment, but then sometimes when you step back and look at the whole thing together, then it's like, well, it just doesn't work. And then you adjust it, and it's all fine. A little bit lost here, but I really like this sag in the divot that it's causing there. Something about that really speaks to me. Don't know what it is. Damon, hello, welcome. You're a bit late, but I'll accept it. having these compression wrinkles resolving into, they're very horizontal, resolving into very vertical shapes. That's tricky. I'm not doing it elegantly, that's for sure. I'm going to keep poking at it because I really feel like this is worth preserving. A delayed V-Day getting massage. Ooh. Been working out a lot lately. Yeah, I've been going to massage therapy a bit myself, and since going, I have not had a problem that happens quite frequently where I'll like strain my neck, and then I get like this kink in my neck where it hurts to move certain directions, which means it better not be lifting heavy weights. So that's slowed me down quite often, and over the past couple months it hasn't happened, so apparently that is good therapy. What kind of workouts have you been doing, Damon? Yeah, the thing I was doing with this was what I saw on that. I think it was a turtle. Maybe it was fish. I don't remember. But there were these bumps that generally went in lines, but then the folding of the skin didn't necessarily follow those lines, which created an interesting contrast. Hey, Shane. Shane.
What?
If you want to hold on a couple minutes, yeah, we can grab something to eat when we get in shoes. I'm taking my son out to get not hiking shoes, trail running shoes. Because we're going on a trip this summer all over cool desert rock areas, and we like climbing and jumping from rock to rock, so trail running shoes are the thing that works well for that, apparently. Lisa says, massage and chiropractor are why I can still move. I know what I said about the other bumps looking good by themselves, but those lines in among them look cool too. Yeah, I think I'm gonna expand on this idea throughout the torso for sure. Yeah, I'll probably do the other shoulder this way. Damon says I do kickboxing, MWF, and strength training. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Sunday is free day. Alternating upper lower on the strength days. Even with good stretching, I'm a giant ball of sore muscles and lactic acid. Yeah, that's a lot. Wow. At some point, theoretically soon, I'm going to up my training protocol significantly because I need to get show ready to do some characters who are shirtless for a variety of reasons for my video project, and it's a comedic project, which means if I was like really out of shape, it would be funny that I was like playing a wrestler and Khal Drogo and stuff like that, right? But I don't want to go that direction, so I'd rather get as close as possible to those actual body types. Since I've already got some momentum in that direction, I might as well continue with it, but the fat loss, man, that's what gets me, because it requires disciplined eating and cardio, which I cannot stand cardio. Gonna make all the ladies swoon. Yeah, I haven't noticed that's been a problem for me, so I'm not too worried about that. So yeah, I'm thinking of doing swimming. I have a friend who really enjoys swimming, so that's like the worst part of cardio for me, besides feeling like I can't breathe and I'm going to suffocate and die and I hate myself and I hate my body and I want to go to sleep forever. Besides that, the worst part is overheating. I get hot so fast. So swimming, I think, is a good solution to that, since I assume the water regulates your temperature. Letha says, someday when I visit again, we should go for a jog. Wahaha. Yeah, jogging is the worst. The closest I can do to jogging is, what is that called? Is it intermittent? No, that's intermittent fasting. It's that thing where you do short bursts of like 30 seconds to a minute where you go at full blast, and then you go down to like really slow until your heart re-regulates, and then you do again a super fast burst. That I can handle better, because it's consolidating the agony. Damon says, swimming is amazing. I overheat without much effort ever since I had a heat stroke back in my landscaping days. Oh, wow. I wonder if maybe something like that happened to me when I was a kid living in Texas, because I played outside in the very, very, very hot heat quite often. I wonder if maybe that did something to my heat regulation system. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. I'm really liking this now. Letha says, high intensity interval training. Yes, HIIT training, that's right, H-I-T-T. Letha says, I overheat easily too. I'll be out at the barn in a t-shirt and everyone else is wearing 3 sweaters. The annoying part is my fingers and toes will get ridiculously cold if it's like below 72 degrees. So, like at my office I have a little foot heater that's on almost all the time, summer or winter, because it's never 72 degrees in my office, or very seldom. And then the winter at home, like right now I have a heating pad over my feet. Super annoying. Nasir says, how long did I miss? Reed Leachy says, hi Josh, love your work. Hi Reed. And hello Nasir. Well, what did you miss? I'll show you what we've got so far. Got Mr. Scolla here. Arms and shoulders and head and feet. He's got an extra hand floating here. We'll take care of that at some point. Yeah, I think. Well, okay. I'm close to being ready for the detail level. I think next time I'll be doing more detail on the body because I'm not totally happy with what's going on with his body. And of course I need to give him all his quills. But yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. I think another couple weeks and this guy will be done. So I'm looking at the stuff that I really like this hang here. I think just because of how much it reminds me of the skin folds on this guy. I think that's pretty successful. I think this part of the shoulder is less successful than this part of the shoulder. So I'll be applying this treatment more over the rest of his shoulders, probably his back a bit, and then I'll leave his belly, I think, more soft, wrinkly tissue like this. And I'll probably do some tweaks to the head. I know, Nasir, you were saying that having his ears straight up like the concept art gives him a very different personality feel. And so I'll probably mess around with moving his ears around. And then you're asking about the ear veins. Yeah, I have not done that yet. That'll probably be on the detail pass. But yeah, I think overall everything's going pretty well. I'm feeling better than I have the past several weeks, where I was really concerned I wasn't going to be able to get the wrinkles on his arms to a place where I'm happy with. You know, they're not great, but they're to a place where I'm happy with them. So that's all I'm asking for at this point. Anyway, yeah, we've been going for quite a while, so I think this is a good place to call it. I mean, Nasir just got here, so we should go anyway, right? We don't want to be around him. No, just kidding, Nasir. Always lovely having you, but I have been going for a couple hours and haven't eaten yet today, so I should probably do that before I fall over dead. Yeah, so Wednesday, 90% chance I'll still be grooving on this guy, and yeah, I'll see you then, you guys. If you haven't been to my what is it called? Facebook, that's what it's called. If you haven't been to my Facebook channel, check it out. I have a Facebook page you should go to, and you should like it and share it with your friends. And that's where you can get all the latest and greatest news. Like, for instance, apparently I'm going live with this video right now. Yeah. And yeah, so see you guys next time on Wednesday. TTFN. That stands for Ta-Ta for